Do not be fooled. At 70, your family might no longer be your safest support system. We grew up believing that family would always be the safest harbor, a place that would be there for us when we grow weaker, fall ill, or feel lonely. But the truth about aging is often very different. Your children have their own lives. Your partner may no longer be there. And the people you've known for decades slowly begin to drift away. If you do not build your own strong pillars, emotionally and physically, you could easily find yourself feeling lost, helpless, and without direction. So, what really is the most reliable foundation when you turn 70? What can help you live peacefully, powerfully, and unshaken by the indifference of those who once meant the world to you? In today's video, I will reveal 5 secret pillars, simple things that turn out to be the rock-solid base for a life not only healthy and long, but meaningful and free, no matter your age or circumstances. This is a life lesson that the earlier you understand, the more peace and happiness you will have in the later chapters of your life. Make sure you watch all the way through, because the 5th pillar, the one people often overlook the most, could be the very thing that determines whether you live joyfully or merely survive. Before we begin, leave a comment below with a positive affirmation. A little commitment to welcome good things into your life. Something like, I am building a strong and peaceful old age for myself, or whatever your heart truly wants. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on more content like this. Let's create a space full of positive energy to grow and thrive together. Now, let's dive into each of the pillars. Pillar 1. A sense of purpose. At 70, as the external responsibilities begin to fade away, no more work schedules, no more meetings, and the kids have left the nest to live lives of their own, what remains is the stillness of your own space. And in that silence, many people begin to feel unmoored. The emptiness does not come from having nothing to do. It comes from losing the roles that have defined who you are for so many years. When you are no longer the parent managing every meal and bedtime, no longer the boss, the colleague, or the advisor at work, then who are you? This is the moment to pause and redefine yourself, not to live out of duty, not to be who others need, but to live as your truest self. 70 is the age where you no longer need anyone's permission to pursue what you love. More importantly, you no longer need to prove anything. This is a special stage in life where you are finally free to live authentically. But without a clear purpose, loneliness and disorientation can creep in fast. Purpose no longer needs to be something grand. It is not about financial success or a legendary career anymore. It can be small, but still powerful enough to give you a reason to keep going. A person who feels they have a reason to wake up tomorrow is always stronger than someone who feels like there is no point at all. You do not have to create something big. Instead, build a steady rhythm around the things that bring you lightness, excitement, and a sense of connection to yourself. Try planning a theme of the week. It could be something you always wanted to do, but never had the time, like reading the complete works of your favorite author, digging into your family history through old photographs, and turning it into an emotional family tree, or simply writing a letter to your 20-year-old self to reflect on and heal the painful moments of the past. These are not just distractions. They are journeys inward to rediscover who you truly are and to reclaim joy from the little things. Create anchor points in your week, moments where you know for sure you will be connecting with something meaningful. The elderly who live long, healthy, and happy lives are not necessarily the richest or the ones surrounded by a large family. They are the ones who nourish their souls through intentional actions. Whether it is spending a morning carefully cooking a dish from the past or sitting in the garden watching the flowers bloom, as long as you feel truly alive, that is already your purpose. Do not let your 70s be reduced to a calendar full of medication times and doctor visits. Let your schedule include days marked by things you genuinely look forward to. One small but meaningful act each week. That is not wasting time. That is planting time into something you choose to love. Pillar 2. Community. Something remarkable happens when people enter the later stages of life. The once noisy world seems to quiet down, leaving behind a kind of stillness in the heart. At 70, isolation is not just about the absence of loved ones or friends. It is the feeling that you have been left out of the game, no longer needed, no longer mentioned. And that kind of isolation can be just as destructive as any illness. Social isolation is not simply about having no visitors. It is when your presence feels like it no longer echoes in any of your relationships. At this stage of life, the feeling of, I am still part of something, is more powerful for your mental clarity than any supplement. But this connection does not happen randomly. It must be nurtured intentionally, and most importantly, with the right people and the right kinds of relationships. We do not need many people around us. We need real ones, not formal, surface-level interactions, but someone who genuinely listens to your stories, remembers your birthday, and checks in when you have been absent for a few days. That is the kind of nourishing connection where your presence is not just noticed, it matters. Elderly people who live in communities with meaningful connections like that are less likely to suffer from depression, tend to have stronger immune systems, and retain their memory for longer. Building a sense of community at 70 does not require grand or widespread action. It just needs to be consistent and sincere. Joining a community class, whether it is cooking, painting, or learning how to use a smartphone, not only helps you learn new things, but also creates space for real interactions. Being part of a book club where peers share their thoughts on a novel could be a weekly event you look forward to. If joining formal groups is not an option, simply opening up to your neighbor or keeping a routine walk during the same time every day, where familiar faces greet you, can be a powerful way to build a social network. The key is for the connection to happen often enough to feel familiar and comforting. Many people think old age should be quiet, but quietness without community turns into loneliness. And loneliness is a state that makes people slowly feel invisible. A good morning greeting, a weekend coffee date, or a text asking, "How are you today?" They may seem small, but they are the threads that tie your heart to the world. Think of community as a garden. You cannot wait for flowers to grow on their own. You have to plant seeds, water them, pull out weeds, and stay patient and consistent. Relationships are built through clear intentions. I want to connect. I want to share. I want to be present in someone's life and allow them to be present in mine. 70 is not the time to shut yourself away. It is the time to refine. Refine your relationships. Let go of the ones that drain you and hold on to the ones that let you feel like yourself. A community does not need to be big. It just needs to be close enough that if you were gone one day, someone would notice. Pillar 3. A resilient mindset. No one enters old age without experiencing some kind of loss. A spouse may pass away after a serious illness. A once strong body now reacts more slowly. Familiar faces gradually drift apart, not because of conflict, but simply because life takes them down a different path. And even after living most of your life, you can still find yourself thrown off by unexpected waves, just like in your younger days. But if there is one thing that can keep you from collapsing, it is resilience. The ability to stand tall and not lose yourself, even as life continues to change. The truth is, you cannot stop time from taking your health. You cannot keep every loved one by your side forever. You cannot expect everything to stay the same. But you can choose how to respond to all of these changes. That is where resilience becomes a kind of emotional immune system. It is not a suit of armor that blocks out pain, but more like a second skin. Soft yet tough. It takes the hits without tearing. It feels pain without letting pain take control. Resilient people are not those who never cry, never feel sad, or never get hurt. They are the ones who allow themselves to be vulnerable, but do not let that vulnerability consume them. They know how to get back up, sometimes slowly, but always steadily, because they believe that life, despite taking things away, still has something meaningful to offer. That belief is not blind optimism. It is something built through experience, through heartache, and through self-healing. One deeply practical way to build resilience is by practicing long-view thinking. When something painful happens, instead of getting stuck in the immediate emotion, take a step back and try to see your life like a movie, watching it from the outside. The question is no longer, why is this happening to me? But instead becomes, what does this chapter say about the character I'm becoming? When you see your life as a story with depth, each painful moment becomes less sharp, because it is no longer the end, but simply a necessary part of the character's growth. Resilience is also the skill of knowing when to let go. Some things become more painful the tighter you hold on. Some people only bring more disappointment the more you expect from them. And some situations get more chaotic the more you try to control them. Letting go is not giving up. It is freeing yourself from clinging to things that no longer serve your well-being. You can only move forward when your hands are no longer weighed down. Most importantly, resilience is fueled by hope. The belief that good things are still ahead. Not grand things, but simple joys. A pain-free morning, a surprise call from a friend, or a plant blooming unexpectedly. Those who hold on to that kind of hope tend to live longer, live healthier, and most of all, they live without bitterness. Because they do not carry their wounds like heavy baggage, but treat them as layers that have added depth to their soul. Pillar 4. Financial security. There is no true freedom if your mind is constantly tied down by financial worry. No matter your age, money is part of your autonomy. But at 70, financial independence takes on a whole new meaning. It is no longer just about being able to pay bills. It is about having the power to choose. The freedom to choose how you live, where you live, how you receive care, and how you close the final chapters of your life with dignity. The reality is, many older adults find themselves financially dependent. Some assumed their children would take care of them, but those children now have their own lives, with their own challenges. Others thought they would just take life as it comes, only to realize too late that they made no preparations for the most vulnerable period of their lives. At this stage, money is no longer about shopping. It is about living without having to rely on others. Freedom means being able to say no to a living arrangement that does not suit you. It means having the option to choose higher quality healthcare if needed. It means not having to ask anyone's permission to buy something you love, or simply being able to eat what you want without worrying about the price. It is a quiet kind of freedom, but it is invaluable, and it only comes from being financially prepared. To build financial immunity for old age, the first and most important step is to reassess all of your personal assets. Sit down and take stock of everything you have: real estate, savings, valuables, inheritance. What should be kept for safety, and what can be sold to generate cash flow? Do not let outdated possessions sit there unused while you struggle to pay for essentials. Anything that no longer supports your well-being can be converted, not because you are selling your life, but because you are reprioritizing your needs. If you feel unsure about the numbers, do not hesitate to consult a financial advisor. Do not let your age stop you. You still have every right to ask for guidance and craft a smart strategy for this phase of life. The right knowledge at the right time can save you from costly mistakes, like withdrawing savings at the wrong moment or making unsafe investments. And most importantly, do not place all your financial hopes in your children. Not because they do not love you, but because love does not always come with the ability to provide. Many of them may be struggling with their own mortgages, kids, and careers. Being financially self-sufficient is not about avoiding being a burden. It is about protecting your dignity so that every decision you make comes from desire, not necessity. Financial security at 70 is not about having a lot of money. It is about knowing how to use what you have in a deliberate and thoughtful way. There is no room for waste, but also no need to live in fear. It all comes down to one word: enough. Enough to live comfortably, enough to stay independent, and enough to never feel like you are a burden to anyone. Pillar 5. Health. Nothing compares to the simple joy of waking up clear-headed in the morning, knowing that you can still get out of bed on your own, make yourself a cup of tea, and get dressed without help. That kind of basic freedom is the foundation for all other forms of independence. Because no one can live fully and actively if they do not have control over their own body and mind. At 70, health is no longer measured by the absence of disease. It is measured by your ability to function independently, being able to care for yourself each day, remembering what day it is, knowing what you plan to do, and still being mentally sharp enough to make decisions with clarity. As long as you can do that, your life still holds its full value, unrestricted, self-sufficient, and most importantly, still true to who you are. Health does not come from luck. It is the result of long-term, consistent, conscious effort, and the ideal model for maintaining health in old age is the balance of body, mind, brain. This is not a vague theory. It is a concrete system you can practice daily and even hourly. Body means more than just moving. It means keeping your reflexes sharp and being able to handle real-life situations. At this age, it is not about being as strong as you once were. It is about being quick enough to avoid falling on the stairs, strong enough to carry a potted plant, or turn your body without getting dizzy. Practice exercises based on real-life movements, balance, turning, stretching. These simple, functional exercises help you maintain control over your body, which is the deepest form of confidence. Mind refers to your emotional space, not just peaceful, but regulated in the face of biological and social changes. At this age, you may find yourself emotionally sensitive, moody, or unexpectedly lonely. Do not let passing emotions lead you. The key is not just to meditate or read books, but to build a smart emotional response system, knowing when to be silent, when to speak up, and when to walk away from negativity. That kind of awareness is a sign of mental strength, not avoidance. Brain means your cognitive functions also need regular challenges. The aging brain does not weaken on its own. It weakens faster when left bored by repetition. Learn a new skill. Play brain games, study a language, learn to use basic technology, paint, or write your memoirs. Even just 15 minutes a day can keep your brain analyzing, remembering, creating, and most of all, feeling like it is still growing. Health, to put it plainly, is not the final goal. It is the essential foundation for achieving everything else in life. And like any relationship, your health needs to be nurtured with understanding, care, and consistency. Treat it like a loyal companion. The more attention you give, the less likely it is to abandon you. Old age is not something to fear. It only becomes scary when you do not know what to rely on to live fully. By the time you reach 70, it is no longer about how long you live. It is about how well you live in the time you have left. Your family may love you, but they cannot live your life for you. So you must be the one to build your own solid foundation. These 5 pillars we just explored together are not just support systems. They are your compass for living peacefully, independently, and never feeling like you are just a leftover in life. Old age can be the most radiant chapter of your life if you choose to take control of it. Do not wait for someone else to bring you happiness. Create that happiness yourself, day by day, through small, meaningful actions. If today's message resonated with you, leave a comment below as a way to affirm your new mindset. Say something like, "I choose to be my own strong foundation," or "My later years will be peaceful and empowered," or any positive statement that reflects your commitment to living a valuable life in your older years. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because every week I will be sharing powerful, practical, and inspiring content to help you not just live longer, but live deeply. Let's build a community of older adults who are not lonely, not dependent, but strong, happy, and full of purpose.